are the future. One of my colleagues said that I have to say, got it here, that students are the future of AAUW. And so our goal is equity, and why not start with the college students? So I appreciate your interest tonight. I am from the Redlands branch. I'm co-chair of the College University Partnership Program along with Pam Ford. And I was asked, after talking to Marcia at a particular meeting, I was asked to come on board and help get the College University Partnership Program going, or answer questions, because there's so many questions out there. I had been frustrated for a number of years, and I imagine some of you, if you've been involved, have been. And so I'm hoping we can get the program to strengthen and maybe find some new partnerships. What I want to do, though, is acknowledge Donna Lilly isn't here, but she was heading up this program for a number of years and did an outstanding job all before COVID. Then during COVID, things kind of slowed down, but she laid a lot of groundwork. Things have changed so much with National and how we're doing things that we have to redo some of the materials that she and the women who were working on it several years ago created, because now National updated their website. It's out of date. I wanted to also introduce you, if you don't already know, some of our state, our board of directors. Marcia Swells is up there. She is a leadership member, and let me see, I think I've got your actual title here. She's the AAUW California Director for Leadership Development. So thank you, Marcia.
Membership.
And membership. Okay, and membership. Thank you. And oh, that's right. Marcia Swells is membership. Sigrid is the Director for Leadership Development.
Hi, everybody.
Right? There's Sigrid. And Marcia, did you wave yet?
I'm sorry?
Did you wave at everybody? Wave
so we know who you are. Okay.
And those of you joining us now, please put down your name and the branch that you're from. I am going to share my email address, so I'm going to post it now. I might have to post it again later, so that if you want to reach me, it's sbangasser1@gmail.com. I will have a state email address, but when I checked it, it wasn't quite working yet. So right now I just use my personal one. What I'd like to do is, if you have questions, you can raise your hand or you can put them in the chat and we'll try and get to them. If you just joined me, I was saying my agenda is a little optimistic, so I'm going to share the agenda, and then I'm going to actually jump to the end in case any of you can't stay for the hour and a half. You will at least know the couple projects that we're going to be working on. So what I want to do, hang on a second, is share screen and find the agenda.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay. I'm not sure. Okay, I see something else. I see like my
No, we can see it.
Okay, you can see it. All right. So so the goals for this group, the CU peer group, I came up with some goals, and if you have some goals now that we could add to this or some suggestions, please do. You could either raise your hand and I'll try and recognize you, or Sigrid will recognize you, since it might take two sets of eyes, or you could put them in the text. But first of all, I wanted to review the role we play in the future of AAUW and the success of equity for women. We need to start with the students who are entering the workforce, and so we can get them educated in ways to obtain equity. And National has provided us with Start Smart, Work Smart, Money Smart, etc. So those are possible ways, but there might be more ways to help them achieve equity. Then we need a network. We need a place to ask questions and in a gathering to answer. I have to tell you, I don't have all the answers. I only know what I've been doing. And so it's going to take all of us to come up with some really good answers and some solutions. But that's why we have the peer-to-peer group. I'd like to stay more in tune with National's resources. I found that National never told me what they were doing. And so when I show you the California website, I went on National and found out they've been doing a lot of good stuff, but it seems to be a secret. And so we want to make sure that you, as either college university partnership chairs or membership chairs or policy chairs, there's a variety of people who are invited to this meeting, that you realize National's resources. We want to, as CU chairs, strengthen our partnerships or create new partnerships. I know we have 3 partner schools, and I don't think we do enough for them, and I don't think they know what to ask us. So I would like to strengthen our partnerships. And then develop strategies for reaching out to faculty and staff at our partnership institutions. National came up with something. I don't think it's quite good enough. So we'll come up with some better ideas. But this would help with membership too, if the faculty and staff realize that what we represent, what we advocate for, and what we're trying to encourage students to achieve. I think maybe we can get some faculty to join local branch AAUWs. And then, of course, develop materials such as best practices, brochures with benefits and information for CU partners. Now, I have to tell you that I wrote some of these goals before I got some information from National. National has been working on some of this, and so that is pretty cool. At this point, does anybody have any other suggestions for a goal or a role for our peer committee? And once again, if you wake up tomorrow morning and go, oh, I really want to do this, just send me an email and I will keep a list. And if you know how to use the raise your hand icon, that kind of puts you at the head of the pack. So if you see any, no one's raising their hand. Well, these are already, pretty extensive goals. So you might think of something, please let us know.
I do have a question.
Okay. Oh, good. Penny,
It's to do with the gradual move towards online education, which has basically, I work with the College of Alameda, have for many years, and now I'm the coordinator for NCCWSL. But what I observe, I was on the campus today, is that the campus itself is pretty much empty. And after COVID, a lot of these institutions, a lot of the students stayed online. And so their student activities and the sense of connectedness institutionally has really changed. And so I think we need to talk about that, is how do we reach people when the majority of their associated coursework and they're less on campus, they're just not there.
That's true.
And so if you've ever been to a college campus recently, you will notice a difference right away. I just think we need to think very broadly about what the shape of higher education and what's happening with the advent of all of this new technology, which may be beneficial, but it also undermines kind of a social connectedness. So
that's
anyway,
a good point.
That's my concern.
That is excellent. Thank you. I'm taking notes. I probably shouldn't take notes. It's taped, but I'm a good student, so I tend to take notes. I want to show you the rest of the agenda because then I will unshare the agenda. I'm going to show you the recent California University page on our state website. The survey results are on the website. I'll show you how to access them, and then you can peruse them whenever you have the time. I'll share some of the information from National's new CU toolkit. That's something that came out recently. And the problem is there's no link to it. So Sandy Gabe, our president, just sent me all the documents. And so some of them we can put on our CU page. A couple of them will be out of date already and National will have to update them. At the end, assuming we get through all this, I want to talk about NCCWSL today because we ran into some problems with West Coast students and the time change and getting there and getting hotel room the day before was quite chaotic for some of us. And I think we should have a plan to improve how we send students to NCCWSL, whether we all send them a day early because of the time change, and have a locker rooms that they can enter to make the transportation and the connection to the hotel rooms easier for us to arrange and less stressful for the students. So I'm going to be asking for a task force or a work group kind of to share ideas so that we can share them with National and try and work with National to try and improve that aspect for the West Coast students. So it's not just California, but any student coming from the West Coast. The
Susan,
other,
Deborah Lerner has a question.
oh,
She's got her hand up.
Deborah. Okay, Deborah, thank you.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I had two kind of comments, actually. One was that I work with students at the College of Marin, and I've signed up a number of students, and they've become student members. But they're the problem seems to be bringing them in and having them be active and having them be responsive. So they get information, they get invitations to participate in various ways, even, you know, saying, well, we'll, if you come to the meeting, you can be our guest and so forth. But they aren't that responsive. And so that's a problem I see. And then just mentioning the toolkit, yeah. Our president, I think, or it was included in a newsletter, where's a link, but then the link didn't go anywhere. So that's a problem. Yeah, and you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
And engaging students, I think, is hard. And I've discussed it with one of our universities. We actually have a couple students who have been pretty active from a campus, but it's because of the person on the campus. It's not because of what we did, it's because of what the person on the campus did. And so that will be one of our discussions too, is not just letting students know that they can be members, but then how do you keep them engaged? And that tags on to the previous question, but how do you do that when they might be mainly online? I think some colleges have more of a in-person presence than others. So some people might have more challenge than others. But at the end of the meeting, I'm going to ask for people who want to work on NCCWSL and a group who would like to work with me on reviewing and preparing materials. So when we meet again in August, we can share some ideas on how to approach new partners or how to strengthen new partnerships. So kind of brainstorming some of those ideas. And since this is on the agenda, we have someone from National, Katrina, who's willing to come to one of our meetings. And I'm thinking I don't know for sure, but we might have to have it at 1 p.m. so that it's 4 p.m. on the East Coast. So I don't know if that's going to present a problem for you, but it's not set in stone yet, but we haven't asked Katrina, is she willing to stay late after work to meet with us? Otherwise, it'll be an afternoon rather than an evening. And then the topic I'm proposing to discuss is best practices to approach and encourage a local institution to be a CU partner. I see that Penny has her hand.
Yeah, I won't be able to stay for the end of the meeting. I just want to say on point number 6, I'm going to NCCWSL this year for the first time for a reason that one of our students couldn't travel with the other one. So I decided I would go because I have never been. And I would be happy to serve on that task.
Oh, yay. And then you can report back.
I will report back. And,
okay.
and yes, I'm leaving very, very early on the Thursday.
Yes.
But yes, but I'll be happy to. I just wanted you to have that name so that you know I'll have something to offer on that.
Well, thank you so much. All right, so that's the agenda. I'm going to unshare. I have to. It's sort of like the way this is. Oh, there it is. There's my stop share. Okay. So on the agenda, after those goals. By the way, did anybody come up with any? What does I see some in the chat. Good. All right. So we'll take a look at those. What I want to show you is our California University Partnership page on the state webpage. So I'm going to share again, and I'm going to go to, a second, I have to identify it and all these little things opening here. This should be it. Share.
Susan, while you're doing that,
Uh-huh.
Rosara
Yeah.
has a question.
Yes, Rosara.
Yeah, maybe you have it on the website, but the question is, do we have a list of what these CU partnerships are, what campuses are concerned? Where are AUW branches on campus?
You know, I am going to be working on preparing the list myself. There is no list. And to find out if a college is a partner, you have to look it up individually online. It's a challenge, but you can look up the colleges in your neighborhood to see if they're there. So it's not easy. The other problem I have is that if students register for AAUW on the national website, we don't know that they're registered. And so, in one of our meetings, I can share what Redlands is doing, but you might have your own way of handling this to make sure we know which students from our partnership schools are registered to be student members. There is some good news, though. I don't know if any of you were concerned about this, but I don't know the result of the vote. But regardless of if the national vote to allow people in, whether they have a degree or not, that was vote, it doesn't affect the fact that students will still have free membership. And for a while, some of us were afraid that if that would wipe out the free membership for students, but it does not. So just let you know. Okay, now everybody should see the opening page, the home page for the California AAUW webpage, right? You all see that? Okay. Now, to find information for college university partnerships, I'm going up to branch tools. Can everybody see that I have my cursor on branch tools up at the top? Okay, so I said it's not these main things here. It's way up at top, kind of hidden. I'm going to select branch tools. And hopefully the screen changed. Did the screen change? Everybody sees a screen that says, like, ask us first. Yep. Oh, good. Okay. So here's peer groups, by the way. If I press peer groups, which I just did, I don't think we're listed yet, but you can, let's say I pick DEI. Then there's some meeting information. And there is a bar, click here to access YouTube video playlist. So we will create one for college university, and you'll be able to go back and review this meeting. What I want to do is, let me see if I can.
We don't know where that's going to be yet. It could be under branch development, because branch development encompasses membership. Yes. Okay. And CU and many other things.
Thank you, Sigrid. So if you can't find it, feel free to email me. Also, to let you know that I retired so I could travel, and I will be gone a couple of weeks. If I don't answer, it's because I don't have internet, but I will answer. Okay, I'll get there. Just be sure and put either AAUW or college university partner, something in the subject line. All right, so now we're back on the branch tools page. I'm going to scroll down, and you will see in the left corner, college and university partnership program. Okay, so I'm going to select that. And now we're on the page, and hopefully all of you can see. It's divided into 3 main chunks. Well, 4 now, because the first is the survey results. So if you want to read about the survey, you select read more. And there's some ideas in this survey. So some of those ideas will be brought up at each of our peer meetings, and then we will enhance them. This students, undergraduate and graduate school, the information here was focused on what would students want to know. Okay. Then I scroll down, campus representatives. So your faculty or staff from the universities, this is focused on what they may want to know. And then branch chairs, college university chairs. This is focused on what I thought branch chairs would want to know. So I'm going to open this one, and hopefully it keeps sharing the next page. So now you see it says branch chairs, blah, blah, blah. Tools for students and campus professionals. There's this, I happen to like this YouTube video on AAUW's mission, so I put it in there. Membership, this leads you to the page on the national site on learning to negotiate. I'm going to scroll down on the national site, and it talks about Work Smart and Start Smart. There is a page, which obviously isn't this one, that has seminars listed. I don't know if you've been on the page, because it was really hard to find Start Smart, and Work Smart for a long time. But they've been having online workshops, but you're supposed to register for them. But the last workshop is June 19th. So they don't have them in the summer. I actually registered for June 19th workshops. I want to see what they say. So instead of doing Start Smart on campuses like we did pre-COVID, they have it online. And I'll go back to that in a minute. Okay, so then how to join AAUW. Leadership, if you want to learn about leadership, and really it's going to take you to Nick Whistle. Okay, Nick Whistle. So Nick Whistle. Yeah, let me see. I can't back up on this one. I will go here. And then here's Start Smart, Money Smart. This might be the page that has the actual list. Here's the seminar schedule. So June 19th is the last Start Smart. And I was happy to see that they added Money Smart, because especially at a community college working with, let's say, freshmen might really need to know about Money Smart. If they're getting scholarships or funding, they need to make sure they know how to budget their money. So these pages then, I'm kind of it didn't go backwards. So the different categories are for this particular group of people, and hopefully you find it useful. If you ever find something that doesn't work, let me know, because I know I will have to keep checking the links since they lead to national. Were there any questions on this, or did anybody want me to open up anything in particular? Okay. All right. So I will stop sharing. So I just want to make sure you knew how to find under branch tools that we now have a CU page, and hopefully the information there is helpful. Okay. So someone had mentioned, and I had mentioned the college university toolkit that National put together. And I mentioned that at our next meeting, which will be in August, we're having someone from National. But I said we know that there's going to be free membership for students who are at a CU partnership school. It's still $18.81 for students who are not at a CU school. What I wanted to show you is some of the documents they put together. And Sigrid and I will have to figure out how to share them with people, if we put them on our state page, or if you email me and I just send you the documents. So what I want to do is share the screen again. And
if we put it on the state page, because it's national, it'll just be a link and it'll take you to the national site.
Okay.
But that's okay. You know,
but right now we don't have a link that, I don't think we have a link that works at National yet, though.
Not yet. No.
Okay.
No.
All right. So if you're eager to get these before we get a link, just email me and I will attach the documents. That's how I got them. They were attached and sent to me. So let me see. Okay, so this is, you can't see what I see. I'm trying to find my documents here. Okay, here is. Okay, so can everyone see this?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so AAUW, College University Members, How to Join and Renew. It's a nice little 4-year partnership schools. It's a nice little handout so that they know how, and then there's even a QR code. I'm going to stop sharing that because I really was looking for, make sure I have them open. I have them open, okay. I'm not sure why I don't see them all. There must be. Huh.
Yeah, scroll down on your desktop, you'll find it.
Well, it's open on my computer, but my PDF is only showing that one PDF. It's as though they're buried. What I might do is close that one PDF so I don't. Okay, this one. Okay, there's 2 others there. All right, let me try it again. Okay, here's one. I think they're stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one, I think they did a pretty good job trying to. My concern was, how do you pitch this to your college or university? Why should they join? The dues have gone up to $250 a year. It's not a big jump, but they're explaining about networking with other institutions, that the National gives fellowships and grants to graduate students, and it talks about NCCWSL. I think it's important that the college and university know how AAUW is an advocate for equity, and just being on that same page might inspire them to participate and encourage the students to learn more about AAUW. So it talks about virtual trainings, some of which we just saw, the activists. So for example, on the student side, I have the 2-minute activist. I'm thinking we could add to this, especially if we continue to include students in lobby days. So our policy people, if we're going to continue to have students learn how to lobby, I think some faculty would be quite excited to have their students experience some lobby training and be involved with that. And student that says students join free. And I did not know this until I saw this flyer, that on the national website, there's a page where you get discounts on stuff. Yeah, so you'll have to check it out. But so I think this is a good document. We might want to add to it. I can't do the graphics like they can, so it might have to be a supplementary document, or somebody else can be creative and do the actual layout. Any questions on this before I stop sharing this one? So that's one of the tools that they presented. I'm going to close it on my computer because when I go to share one more document, hopefully the one more, okay, this is it. Okay, share. So the other one I wanted to share with you that I thought was a pretty good document is frequently asked questions. So this is for the partnership institution. What are the dues? Oh, if you have a current partner, then they know the dues were raised. If it's a new partner, they won't know that. Then what are the benefits? Here they're outlining the benefits clearly. How do I know if a college or university is a member? Someone asked me that, and I'm going to see what kind of list I can come up with, but you have to check individually. It's right now. Student membership, it's free if they're from a partnership school. It explains it clearly. It does answer the question, if the degree requirement changes, how does it impact student membership? And it talks about associate's or bachelor's degree. So I don't know if they're not going to give graduate students free membership. That would be my only question based on this particular paragraph. How do they sign up? They can go there and sign up. The problem is they're signing up with National. I mentioned that's something our branch is not too happy with, because we want to know who signs up. And so So how can we resolve that? Our branch has a plan. Your branch might have a plan. We could compare plans and see if we come up with the best model of a plan. And then what are the benefits? Why should they sign up to be a CU member again? How do you sign up to be a member? How can my branch work with colleges and universities to promote AAUW? I thought that was a good question, because usually I ask the other, how can I work with the college and university to help them? But they're giving them, once again, a lot of information, including links to resources, the 2-Minute Activist, Title IX. So they put a lot of thought into this. And whom do you contact? This might, if we can modify this, it might be that you would add your own contact information at the bottom. That's what I'd like to be able to do. Is yes, they can contact National, but they'd get a faster answer if they contacted their local AAUW representative. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Okay, Penny. Wait, you're on mute, Penny. Okay. Oops, you're mute.
I think it's a very good form, but I do think tying it to the branch is really important.
Mm-hmm.
I've had trouble in the past. The administration of these colleges and universities changes pretty frequently. So finding out whether they renewed after they were a member, you know, who the person is on the campus who should be, you know, and putting this annually. So I, you know, find out that they are no longer a member because nobody was really in charge of renewing. And so it's a kind of a delicate situation in terms of working with the administration of finding out a point person who will, you know, because it has to be more than the faculty there. It has to be on the administrative side.
Yes. Yes.
And that's complicated, you know, because as I say, you have people who are, we can talk more about that in August, but it's, when you're trying to keep them active, it's problematic because you're not really, unless they're dealing with you. I think that your idea that keeping the students away from National, having them work through us at the local branch is a much better strategy. But it's difficult. I do think our role as AAUW representatives is difficult to get them to pony up the money, to tell you the truth.
Well, what I heard, and I haven't seen it in writing, but so Marcia and Sigrid, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I heard that they were going to be sending the invoice to college presidents now in August. So they'd have a routine time, a routine person. And so what my colleague Pam and I were saying is, we want to tell our reps to make sure the president knows what this is about, because they're going to see this and go, for example, one of our colleges is hiring a new president. You know, the interim president knows, but the new president won't have a clue why they're getting this invoice. And so our reps probably have to follow up with the president and make sure they're aware of the bill that they will anticipate getting. The other thing I'm going to share with you, oh, by the way, I worked at a community college for over 30 years. So I was faculty and then a dean. And some of you might work with private colleges. We have a private college that we work with and 2 community colleges. But the budget for the community college can write what's called purchase requisitions all summer long. But the college won't get money until something like mid-October. So they can't spend any money till November. And so they might get billed in August and they might say, we're going to pay you, but they don't have the money to pay you yet. And so that's something, you know, National might need to know. We're also, I had a list of questions to ask the representative and maybe to plant a suggestion. And actually it's my colleague Pam who came up with this idea of suggesting, well, asking the question, does National update the paid colleges on a continual basis, or do they pick a particular month to do it? Because I also want to find out, do they pick a particular time to update the campus representatives, because I know our campus representatives have changed, but they haven't changed on the national website. So if we say, if you update them every, let's say, November or December, or when do they update them? It's probably too much of a job to continually update. But if we know the timeline and they're aware of the fact that they haven't been updated, possibly we can see some progress on getting information updated.
Yeah, that's all very helpful. Yeah, very helpful.
Let me see. Also, if any of you logged on later, I put my email address in there, and I might have to do it again just so that if you logged on later, let me do that one. You have it, so you're welcome to send me questions or suggestions. See if I typed it right. One. Yep. Okay. So there's my email address one more time. Okay. So I shared with you the documents I wanted to share, and I want to let you know that this isn't going to be a monologue when we have our peer group meetings. I only know what I know, and I have very limited knowledge. I don't know what's going on in your branch or your college or university, what problems you're encountering. So I do expect this to be a dialogue. Oh, okay. I just got a message from Sandy Gabe, but so I wanted to, on our agenda, let me see, move to the second, NCCWSL. Okay, so we made it all the way to NCCWSL. All right. We had some problems with getting our students there on time. And also, I don't know how many of you send students to NCCWSL, but you might have noticed it's one day less this year. Okay, so it's a big financial commitment, and then it's one day less, which is kind of bothering me because you're sending them all the way out there for really one evening, one day, and one morning. I really think it should be longer. Then another problem is that, and you all know this, so this is not news to you, but if you're flying to the East Coast, you leave at 6 in the morning, which means you're getting to the airport at 4 in the morning. And it means you're leaving your house like 3 in the morning, and you barely make it at 6 in the evening on the East Coast, depending on how long, if you change flights, how long it takes to change a flight. But, and you lose the 3 hours. So the first day you have to check in, and then they have something starting at 5:30. So our students, we're sending 4 students from our branch, and Orange County has several institutions that are sending students, but they thought the same way we thought in our branch, that let's send them the day before. So they're flying the day before and getting in that night, but they can't stay in the dorms, so they're staying at the hotel that's adjacent to the campus. And Pam was successful in getting hotel rooms for our 4 students. By the way, Pam can speak up anytime, but we actually got the schools to pay for the night at the hotel. We managed to convince, Pam did, to convince all 3 schools that they should pay for that extra night, and we're paying for the NCCWSL registration, the airfare, food on the way, and we're paying for the accommodations, and they get food at the accommodations. But we had a problem, particularly Orange County had a problem that Pam and I were working with Orange County on that. The hotel, when they went to make a reservation, told the CU rep that you cannot check in if you're under 21.
Yep.
I know. I'm going, wait a second. This is a hotel that caters to college students. I mean, you can vote when you're 18. Why can't you check into a hotel when you're 18? One of my colleagues says, well, maybe they have a bar in the rooms and they don't want them drinking. Well, then pull out the little samples. I don't know. Anyway, it was quite a hassle. And Penny, you're the one, you said you were going, I forgot.
I'm going. Yeah, I'm going.
Okay.
I'm going.
Okay.
But we're staying in a hotel afterwards, because I wanted to do the one extra day to allow the student to do some sightseeing. So I'm registering it in my name. Well, and in this case, the student is actually 22, but that's unusual that they're that old. Most of them are, you know, under 21, perhaps.
Well, we have one of our staff members, she's an associate dean, and she wanted to go because we work with San Bernardino Valley College. That's where I work. And so it's a very low income, impoverished area. And I don't even know, 2 students are going, I don't know, but the students I used to work with, probably the farthest they ever got was Riverside. You know, they have never been on a plane before. And so I was very happy that she found funding and she's going. So she is going to meet this Orange County student and include her as part of her group. And she's the adult helping her check in. But this shouldn't happen. The other thing that should happen is, I think National AAUW should get a block of rooms for Nick Whistle and maybe get a lower rate, you know, like you do for a wedding or a convention or something. And because it's not just California, it's anybody from the West Coast who's trying to get there and wants to go a day early. I also, in our Nick Whistle, by the way, so I was asking, you know, who would be, if you joined me late, who would be in a conversation on what we can ask National to think about to improve the Nick Whistle experience for our West Coast students. And those are some of the ideas that so far we have is get a block of rooms. It shouldn't be 21. And Sigrid, you have your hand. Yes.
Yeah. Well, Nick Whistle used to be longer. And it allowed time for the students to tour Washington and see some of the memorials and sites and Congress and what have you. If they could find a way to add that back, or at least organize the tours, even if it isn't part of the Nick Whistle program, then we can organize the students so that they get there a day early and can take a tour of the city. I mean, it's a shame that they're that close to DC and they're interested in leadership, and we don't have a way to get them across the river, really?
Right.
You know.
Well, the woman who's going from one of our colleges is going to take all 4 students, 2 are from her college, 2 are from other colleges, and use the metro to go into downtown DC the first day. And they'll only have time to see the monuments, but at least they'll see something. So I'm an advocate for having tours available or optional for students visiting the DC area.
Yeah, and the other part is coming home. I mean, you have a conference going until midday on Saturday, and even if people turn around, I mean, the you know, getting back to the West Coast. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. The time change issues are really problematic as far as flying is concerned. So, I mean, to stay the extra night, you've got to then arrange a hotel on Saturday. So, I'm going to be doing the tour with the student. You know, I will take her around. I've noticed, I wanted to find out how many people in the Bay Area, how many branches in the Bay Area were sending students to Nick Whistle. So I did a kind of an informal survey looking at Berkeley. I talked to somebody at Berkeley. I talked to somebody at La Marinda branch and looked at how many of the branches around here have Nick Whistle programs. And I was surprised that this seems to have dropped off. I know La Marinda used to. I talked to people at Berkeley and they said they didn't have any nominations this year. So something is happening with the willingness of the branches to support the Nick Whistle programs. And so I think there's a gradual diminishment of representation of students coming from the West Coast. I'd be interested to know whether that holds true with some of the Southern California groups. But certainly I was looking for somebody that might travel with the one student that we have who is going. And I couldn't find anybody locally, you know, so I thought, well, why not? I've got miles on Southwest, I'll go. So it's just, I think there's a problem with recruiting students or supporting the Nick Whistle program for the West Coast students, but it's certainly true over here in this northern end. But it would be interesting to find out what branches are thinking about Nick Whistle now amongst our, you know, California branches?
Because I would like to know how many California students, NCCWSL students there are. I don't know if, I assume they should be able to tell me. Now, they may have been funded through their own scholarship rather than through a branch, but it would be nice to communicate with each other and say, hey, there's a group going down early. Let's go early, and we'll, and National will set up a tour or something like that.
Yeah.
And
If
it could,
you look in the chat, people are putting in there
yeah.
which branches
oh, good,
are sending
good.
students.
Oh, yes,
So
put it in
we've
your
got
chat.
Foothill, Camarillo, Marin, Sacramento, San Francisco, San Jose. And then, of course, we know the Southern California ones, Laguna Beach, Mission Viejo, Saddleback, and then Susan's branch out in Redlands.
Yeah.
Marcia, do you know of any up in LA? You're muted, dear.
I know my branch, Beach Cities, is sending someone. So
Could you put,
Okay.
can all of you put that in there?
I did.
Yeah.
I added it.
Good.
Beach cities. Yeah. So you can see it's quite a big number
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
from California, let alone Washington and Oregon.
Right.
And that, yeah, like everything else in AAUW, and I don't mean to hijack your meeting here, Susan.
No, that's fine. It's fine.
AAUW nationally has about 40,000 branch members. AAUW California has 9,000 branch members. So you can see we kind of carry a little weight when it comes to making suggestions. And Sandy Gabe, our president, has been meeting with National once a month with just about, these kinds of issues that have come up, whether it's about membership, NCCWSL, anything else that is just bugging us and making us crazy. And she's getting results. So we do have their ear, and it's great that Susan's collecting all these, because Sandy's taking these things to National to talk about them, and maybe we'll get like answers. That's all I have to say. That's my commercial.
Okay, well, no, like I said, this is not supposed to be a monologue. I'm happy if everybody here has something to say. But I thought there was a question. Someone else had a question. Oh, okay. Well, are there
Use
any
your
other?
raise the hand thing. You pop to the top of the screen and we can see you.
Yeah. All right. All right. Does anybody have any other wishes for NCCWSL? Didn't they, Pam, they used to have a STEM component too, didn't they, last year or the year before?
Last year they had a day early afternoon STEM workshop in the makerspace. It was a lot of, they really loved it.
Okay. So if that seemed to be popular, I don't know if it's cost that they are, why they cut back on some of these things. But excuse me, if they have that, then it could be that the DC trip would be after, the day when it ends at 10:30, then go to DC, stay another night, the way Penny's doing. These are all logistics that can be resolved later. But if you have any other, Leslie, Leslie, hi, Leslie. I thought you were raising your hand, but I recognize your name. Leslie's the one we've been working with to get the student who's under 21. All right,
Leslie, you're on mute if you think you're talking. She's my friend. I can talk to her like that.
Oh, is that okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a terrible time, and it really helped once Susan put us into contact with Joanne, the college rep from San Bernardino, who is taking 4 students and staying at the hotel, and she had to guarantee. It was crazy what we went through to get this, but the connection that Susan gave us made a big difference. So I'm convinced we have to be more connected with each other to figure out travel times together. So I worry about the safety of some of these students, or, the way flights are canceled. A lot of them are changing plane. I mean, we don't always have control over where the college decides to send the students, and ours are going, we have two students going through Chicago, which I would never have recommended, to tell you the truth. But because the way flights are 40-minute layover in Chicago, and that makes me very nervous for this student. But yeah, I think this connection, knowing which branches are sending students, is super helpful, so that we can all communicate, and we can start a network of NCCWSL students. So when they come back, we can get together with these other colleges. And that, for me, a big deal about this is the networking opportunity. I also found, by the way, Donna Lilly told me 2019, right, the last one before COVID, we had 54 students, which isn't really a lot coming from California, compared to what we could have. I also found, because we have 2 community colleges and 1 private college, that they used to have these breakout sessions with graduate schools, but the community college students would say, well, I don't want to know about graduate programs. I'm trying to decide where to transfer. I'd like to know also about undergraduate. So I got the sense, to some extent, the community college students weren't always integrated as well. Maybe that's changed over the last couple of years. I hope so. But that was the case before. So really, for me, that having the connections, which Susan facilitated, I don't know what we would have done, because the lady at the hotel, and my colleague Lauren is here as well, she was adamant, and she even made your dean send her our students' information, so she could be sure that our student was part of her tour group. And that was the only way she would allow her into the hotel. So yeah, the connections are good. We have to do something, exactly as Susan said, about for the West Coast. This is ridiculous what's happened. Now I've been sending students from Laguna Beach for 7 or 8 years now. And I'm worried that the ones that we do have a college rep going from another college with the students, and I'm worried this year won't be as amazing as it has been, because it's squished in, they're tired, and I'm worried that they won't really understand the tremendous value that other students in past years have found from NCCWSL. So yeah, that's it. Everything Susan said, I absolutely agree with. That's it.
Susan, Donna has a question.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Donna.
Yes. When we started sending, we were given an option of 3 different airports to send people to. If someone could tell me the best airport for the students to come into, I would.
The Baltimore one.
It's the
Which
Reagan Airport. I think in the
Baltimore.
FAQs. No, I think it's the Ronald Reagan Airport. In the FAQs, it recommends the Ronald Reagan, which turns out to be an easier.
That's the closest.
It's the closest to get to, and you would think it would be Baltimore, but in fact it isn't.
No, it's Reagan. It's national.
Reagan.
And just for those West Coast people who have access to Southwest, they do have flights from, for instance, Oakland, that involve no change of plane. It's a stop, but there's no change of plane. Leaves at 6:20 in the morning from here, which is horrible. But at least you get international at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's enough time to get yourself over to to the conference and in time.
And that's not a help for the Sacramento Valley.
So Sacramento, you may have flights from Southwest also through another airport, but
through another, yeah. There's actually we have nonstops to Dulles, because the capital,
right?
The capital, we're the 5th largest world
Sense.
economy. Yeah. So it's weird, but Dulles turns out not to be a good spot.
Well, it's
too far
the one
out.
I always used before, and we just arranged the students to be able to take an Uber. And for the 2 of them traveling together, that was an expense that we covered. So It is possible. It's not ideal, but it's possible. You can't do it really on public transportation. Too time.
And I see in the chat that Laura said you could use mass transit from Reagan, but I'm just thinking our students aren't familiar with mass transit. It's going to be a little overwhelming.
No, we found the first year we did it, it was the year I happened to have been the branch president. It was something I wanted to start. And the first 2 students we sent, I ended up having a day with them at my house. They didn't know what a 311 bag was. They'd never been on airplanes.
Oh my God.
They didn't know about security checkpoints. They didn't know, I mean,
That's all.
it was quite a bit. And we forget that, you know, they're young and they may not have had experiences.
Right.
I even loaned out my luggage.
Yep.
And I think, Pam, we're trying to have our 4 students in our area get together on Zoom to go over some of this stuff, but it might.
Yeah.
Yes, Leslie.
I was thinking we could have like a Zoom meeting of the California NCCWSL students, or, you know, whatever you decide is worth it. But I think that would be great because it reinforces the whole, you know, networking idea, because some of them I'm sure are thinking all this hassle and so little time there, what's the benefit? But if they come back and they are connected with all these other female student leaders, that's a massive benefit. I mean, I think that would be great. So
you're thinking a Zoom after NCCWSL to connect?
No, before.
I would suggest before.
You could do both. Because before is logistics mainly, right? Figuring out all of these things.
Yeah, and they're in exams right now, and you know, we've got graduations and things are kind of chaotic, right? This week and next week.
Yeah, it would have to, well, that's another thing is I find this, you know, the early scholarship date in February, really, if we're going to, you know, this, well, I don't know, some of you probably have them. We don't, because we couldn't get our students selected by February 4th, given a very long intersession. They're out December 15th till February or something.
Wow.
So it was really hard to get, to apply for these scholarships. And the full scholarship, San Clemente told me, is $650 or something. And then there's a partial scholarship. It behooves us really as a group to talk about how we can get things going at our colleges earlier in the year, you know, so that students can have the chance and the time to apply for these scholarships. So everything really, and anyway, flights get more and more expensive, and it's difficult to find them if it's happening this late in the game. You know, it really needs to be done earlier. So hopefully we can figure out what, you know, we don't have to follow an exact schedule, but we can follow some sort of give each other advice about how to organize to get things done earlier in the year. All of it, registering, going for the scholarships, even though you don't have the full agenda. I mean, NCCWSL does not help us. We don't get the agenda out till December. By that time, my community college is already on vacation, and then they're supposed to apply, you know, for the scholarship by February something when they've just come back. But anyway, all of that turns out to be complicated, but the more we talk to each other, the better.
Did we know the dates before December?
No.
We did. I was thinking, okay.
Yeah.
So that would be something that we with National say dates by November, because then maybe it's the end of the semester, students are taking finals, they're ready for holidays, but at least if they know it's coming up, maybe that would help. I don't know. And then for Zoom, I was thinking, you know, we'll have to have a discussion, but like, is April a good month? Because you don't want to, it's too late now for the ones.
Too late now.
Yeah. But sometime once they've been selected, even if they don't have their airline reservations made yet, at least we let them know. Like you said, that was a really good point about they might not even have a suitcase. Someone said they had to loan a suitcase, and then what about, you know, going through security? Not, you know, don't put your lithium batteries in your suitcase, that kind of stuff, you know. So there's a lot of information they may not know.
It might help if we had like a subgroup from the same area, like Southern California students, you know, and Northern California or whatever, because we got together with San Clemente just for a lunch meeting. They actually have from Saddleback, I think 6 students are going. That's a whole other issue, by the way, is those 6 students were selected by the college. I don't, is Lori here? Because Lori and I have talked about that.
Yes.
So that's another thing. We wouldn't mind. I don't know if Lori feels like discussing it maybe at the next meeting, is criteria for selecting how much input AAUW can have. Does that sound right, Lori, in the selection of the students and participation in all of this?
Pam, do you want to tell them how we select students?
Well, we work together with the college reps. So it's 2 or 3 of us from AAUW from the branch, plus it's been 2 or actually more from each of the 3 colleges that review the application, which is simply a resume and an essay about what leadership means to me and how do I carry it out. But we do it in partnership. So the colleges are not telling us who to send and we're not telling them who to send. It's a partnership.
Yeah, we give, we have an application and we work with the Dean of Students at, actually at both of our colleges, although one of the colleges currently does not have a Dean of Students. Like somebody was saying earlier, the administration does move at the colleges. The faculty don't, but the admin does. So yeah, we work directly with, and we do work in partnership. We make the final decisions, but it is difficult. You really have to, you know, kind of make your way to find the right person who knows the student leaders on campus.
That's true.
But I think, yeah, the meeting that Lori organized was very helpful to get the students all together. And that was just from our very small group. But so I was thinking, well, if we had a meeting of anybody who's going to be flying out of Los Angeles or John Wayne Airport in Southern California, whichever community colleges or universities are sending students who fly from that either of those airports, it would be very helpful to get together. Maybe better than, you know, a bigger one or something.
And one of the things that our branch does is we have the students come to a branch meeting and they have like 5 minutes to talk about a highlight or what they liked most about Nick Whistle, to share with our branch members. Just speaking experience. Okay, any other thoughts on Nick Whistle? Okay, well, I think the only other topic would be, is there anybody who would like to work with me on getting materials organized to present to our partnership institutions? We would start with the national and then work, see if there's anything else we would like to add. So if you could either email me or put down in the chat that you'd be interested. So just getting some work done this summer before the August meeting.
While you're volunteering in the chat, someone asked the question about, can we have a list of all the attendees here? You're attendees because you were invited. So we have that branch list of people who get invited to this peer group. And I think we can share that with everybody in the group. I'll talk to Sandy and Sharman to make sure that's okay, or we can build our own distribution list. But I like the idea of you connecting with each other and having, you know, trading ideas and helping each other to solve problems. So we will get that to you.
If you click participants at the bottom of your screen, you can see who's up there now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have, because you registered, we have all of your information. We know where you live. So we can print that
I'm
list.
representing Gloria Yost tonight, so.
Okay, well, we don't know where she lives.
She went to Montana.
Oh, they have internet in Montana. I know
Well,
they
yes,
do.
but not at her college reunion.
Oh, okay.
Okay, if that's the excuse, that's all right.
Yeah, what can we say?
And then in the chat, Laura corrected, I said the invoice goes to the office of the president, not the president directly. So just a minor thing there. And then someone asked, what does AAU offer for young women to join? And I mean, I could say it's a network of other individuals who are on that young woman's side, advocating for her to succeed and to get paid what she deserves and to be promoted as she deserves. We have, AAUW has legal advocacy for those who have problems, so we want to prevent those problems. And so the resources on the California website, I'm hoping will help answer that question too, in that there's access to those sessions like Start Smart, etc. But does anybody else have an answer on what we offer? And I guess the question would be, young women, you're not talking about students then, maybe you're talking about young women who are out of school and joining. So I interpret it. So Kathy, maybe a better answer.
Well, we had one member join us because she liked AAUW's research and she was going to go back to school and work on a master's, and she wanted access to that research. And she did that, and we haven't seen her since, but she was a young lady, grad school age. So there is that research that is pretty famous.
They do a great job with research. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's many reports on their website that we have the MESA program at the community college, which is math, engineering, science achievement. And I was trying to share it with the MESA director that there's all this information on women in STEM. Very interesting research. Oh,
Amy's got a question.
Amy.
I just wanted to add that for young women who are interested in advocacy, AAUW provides an opportunity to get involved with legislative advocacy. I'm with the public policy team, so this is something that's close to my heart, and I think it could resonate with some young women.
So Amy, sometime let me know if you're planning to have students get involved with the lobby days again, because I'd like to include that information to our campus reps in case we have students who are into leadership. And if it's going to continue, I think this year, I was notified late in the game. I'd rather know earlier so we can share it with faculty who might have classes in government or leadership, things like that.
Absolutely. And this year we really had the best intentions, but we didn't get things off the ground soon enough.
Yeah.
I think this time we have laid a lot of the groundwork and we will be ready to start much earlier in the next fiscal year. So I will definitely be reaching out to you so that we can coordinate our efforts there.
Good. Thanks, Amy. And Marcia.
We've done a lot of brainstorming around CU this year in the membership field. One of the things that we have talked about, and you can reject it or accept it or whatever, but we thought it might be interesting to have our students join the online branch for California and then create a subgroup. So because they wouldn't have to create bylaws and all of the things that go into creating a new branch. But then these young women could network with other young women from around the state, which sounds a lot like our discussion about NCCWSL, but they might be able to have their own officers, their own branch, their own speakers. And so much of their lives are online anyway. That was just something we were kicking around, and you just put it out there for future discussion.
Leslie.
I think that's a great idea. I've always hesitated to promote a student branch on the campus, mostly because there's at the community colleges, there's, 2 years, there's so much transition of students. It's very difficult to keep, it's a lot of work to keep them going when the student, the leadership changes. But if we had an online branch, so even when they transfer, then they could stay connected. So I think that's a brilliant idea. I hadn't, because I keep struggling with myself. I know we have this private college. They really, our college rep really wants to start a branch. And I'm thinking, I don't know, it sounds like a lot of work for members. It's hard to get some of our members out to do stuff anyway. So is this going to be worth it? But the online thing, that's fantastic, because that's a lifelong connection.
Yes, it is. And our dream was that these, young women, whether they're at UC San Diego or Stanford, they would have an opportunity to interact, get to know one another, become friends. I'm all about networking when you're
and
that
I
age.
think young women are all about networking. I think that's what I hear is really what draws them into a lot of organizations. They like the idea of service, this generation, I think, young women, but they also like the networking idea. And our branches are not the place to really network. We can provide mentors because we're all retired or older, but they're, can't offer them that, but online they can.
But Marcia, they would be part of the current online branch of members. It would be student members of the online branch. It's not just a student branch. It's
well, they could have dual membership. I talked to the president of the online branch. They're pretty excited about the idea, but it would take a lot of, digging in, figuring out how it's going to work, and then advertising it to all of our branches that have CU programs to get everybody on board with it.
Okay. I have my
Donna.
hand.
Oh yeah, Donna. Yes.
Because we've had active and then not so active branches at Sac State, and also at a couple of our community colleges where I worked for 20 years also. But we had students who, because they could join for free, thought they could come into our branch, and we thought that was wonderful. Not a problem. We have quite an age range in our branch. However, the state charges $10 for the student membership, even if the school is a CU member. So for them to join the California online branch, they're going to be asked to pay $10 for the state. And if online branch has a dues structure, unless they do something.
All right. Well, Donna, I'm going to interrupt you right there because I've already negotiated with the online branch that it would be $0. And we have been knocking around the idea for the state that because they're students, it would be $0 as well. All of the numbers on the website have to match. So that's the problem right now. The numbers have not matched up until this point. We need the California State Board to approve the new dues schedule, but it is a very active topic of conversation. So you are right on, my dear. Good job.
Well, since I've just joined the board, I guess I will be voting yes for no state dues for those kids.
Yeah. Good job. Well, be our cheerleader. We need you.
Secret.
I wanted to introduce two people here who kind of glossed over who they are. Donna, who's joining the AAUW California State Board July 1st, except we make her work before that. And then Amy Holm, who has been on the AAUW California State Board. And Amy and her co-partner Missy have been running public policy. And when you talk to young people, the word social justice seems to resonate a little more than public policy, but that's how you should explain who we are and what we do and how important our public policy team is and all the work that they do.
Good point. All right. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know who our other board members are here. Appreciate that.
I'm code for communications coming in behind. Michelle and I are replacing Sandy and Dawn.
Oh,
boy.
good luck.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
The answer is yes, I'm terrified.
You'll be great.
You'll be great.
Well, the technology learning curve is.
Yes.
Yeah, a little steep, right?
All right.
That's okay.
Well, any other comments before we close the meeting? Any other topics? Well, I appreciate your spending the evening with me, and and we shared a lot of good ideas. I've been taking notes, even though it's recorded, so I'll be working on some of those. And keep in touch. I hope you join us again at an upcoming peer meeting. We'll have one in August. Once again, the date and time to be determined. And if you think of more questions we should send national, you've got my email address.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you,
very much.
Susan.
Well, thank